ready for the audio. Going. Just remember, mods are gay.
Mods are gay.
Mods are gay. The best,
gang.
The best auto moderators are on r/AMD because they actually fight each other.
AMD.
AMD.
Animatronic monster dinosaurs.
Well, it's AMD. It's a computer parts manufacturer, Advanced Micro Devices, but their fan sub is AMD, AYY.
Oh,
MD,
yeah.
And it's a meme page, but people get banned from there all the time. But their auto mods fight each other actually.
Okay, I've got to stop this before we actually start.
There's too much bubbling.
Too much bubbling.
No, the auto mods will like if somebody spells a word wrong. So the main rival for AMD is Intel, right? And whenever somebody types Intel in one of the posts, it says, "Hey, that's a funny way to spell Shintel," like in the comments.
Oh yeah.
And then, but sometimes if you say the wrong thing, if you say "lol" in the comments, like the bots will start fighting each other. It's really great.
It's fun. How much do you use Reddit?
I'm on a detox right now, so I have it I have it uninstalled from my phone. But usually I scroll through when I'm not in detox. I scroll through a couple times a day, and I made my feed so I got rid of all the news. I got rid of all the all the more drama-filled ones, so that my feed is like all guitars, technology, and memes. That's all it was.
Guitars, technology, and memes. Huh.
Right, and it was good to I just kept up to date on what I wanted to keep up to date with. Like I saw when cool things were coming out, and new movies, and new technology and new guitars, obviously, but no politics.
Why?
It just made me angry.
Yeah.
Because
now you understand me, Gary.
I always understood.
Yeah,
you.
this is my plight.
Yeah.
With politics.
Yeah.
I just get pissed off all the time.
Well, Reddit. You'd think for a subreddit. Well, actually, I guess it probably makes sense. It's probably very representative of what the general public opinion is on these things. If you just go in the news, because it has especially on the mobile app, there's a news category, right? It's all liberal bent for a site that's supposed to be open and publicly chosen topics, but it's still liberal bent, and maybe that's just representative of online culture. It very well may be that's the case.
You think so? I feel like with the news, no one really takes any kind of news section seriously. Like, no one goes onto Reddit and looks at the news and it's like, okay, wow, this is what's happening. I feel like people get their news from like their own specific sources. Like, it's usually like an icon or something or like a TV show that they watch, something.
Right,
like
but yeah. But like you see the world news and like the US news subreddits, which everybody I think is automatically subscribed to when you join Reddit. All the posts on there that are uploaded by individual users all have a left-leaning. Yeah. Which might just be representative of the general public online.
I don't think it is the general public online. I think it's always the kind of people who post a lot, or like about politics. It tends to be more liberal leaning. That's why you see more stuff. But that means that it's dismissed a lot more. Right. News online is really easily dismissed, and I think I don't want to get into talking about how I view politics again, because
we're going too far on that.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, though, when I'm like scrolling through news, like I rarely do, but every once in a while when I'm like trying to catch up to date with what's going on, I'll see like r/libertarian pop up and things like that. Yeah. So it's obvious there are other opinions on Reddit, but they just are not always displayed. Yeah. But I like Reddit for the fun parts of Reddit.
Right. So you go on a detox from Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
is
YouTube.
This like a tradition that you do?
No, it's not a tradition. It's something every once in a while I feel like I need it. Where I can't focus on things that are going on in the real world. Every once in a while I realize that I can't be without some form of like media. Right. Yeah. I need like at least YouTube playing in the background or Netflix or whatever. I need something in the background. When I get to that point, I uninstall Reddit off my phone. Right. I take YouTube off my phone. Usually leave Netflix because I usually if I'm watching Netflix, either I have a time to watch a show, like I've cleared out time from my schedule, or I'm just watching in the background. I don't mind that too
Well,
much, but
isn't watching Netflix in the background the same?
yes and no. But that it's always like something I've seen before. I'm just like, just playing video games or something or working around the house. It's when like I can't focus on like schoolwork or something where I have to stop and watch YouTube or whatever. That's when it's like.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of ADHD.
Yeah, yeah. Actually,
See,
when I feel that way, yeah.
I used to have a thing like a little bit of beef with Dylan because Dylan has ADHD. He has ADHD pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I also I thought that I had ADHD for a little bit. Dylan really thought that I had ADHD for a while, like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And what I ended up doing was just I did kind of exactly what you're doing, where I just didn't touch my phone other than like texting people.
Right.
But again, if you know me well enough, you know that I don't have conversations with people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, one
not over
back
text,
and forth
you mean?
or something.
Yeah.
No, I just don't talk
you just
to
don't
people.
talk. You just interact with
Yeah.
people.
Anyway, but I ended up kind of just getting off my phone like that, and my focus. All of a sudden, I was like, I don't know, the Einstein of
Thinking.
being an average human being.
Yeah, it's really when I notice my my attention span being really low, or really short. That's when I know I need to take a break from those things. And then at that point, my phone is just for messaging, and I don't really have long conversations either. So very much the same thing.
Yeah, it's so interesting how we're raised. As our generation, these are the health problems that we deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's mental health. There's so much mental health stuff that we're dealing with now because of phones, mostly because of phones, but also because of video games. People have to like know when to chill. And it's interesting to see the amount of self-control that a lot of people have.
A lot of people are really good at it. A lot of people are really bad at it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just such I don't know. I think it's kind of a cool thing that. I think it's a cool thing that we're dealing with. It's like,
oh yeah,
because I feel like this is the start of, I guess not the start, but it kind of feels like we're just in the, we're getting to the point as I don't remember the word for it, but we're in a society that's just, we have so much stuff, everything. We have too much stuff. So, it's too much stuff.
Too much stuff.
Now, so we need to like, tame it back, tone it down a little bit. And I think that's what people are getting good at now. This is like the adapting is toning it down.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned this before in this podcast, but cell phones are still super new. At least smartphones, like we're familiar.
Exactly.
Like the iPhone came out in 2008. Like that wasn't very long ago. So, still very new to our society.
Yeah, and we haven't quite adapted to the.
Not fully. What's really weird, I was about to mention this, is that how phones have become part of our body language, right? Mm-hmm. Before, if you're trying to read a person, it was like, okay, if their arms are crossed, if they're turned away from you, they're probably uninterested in talking with you. Now it's like people just go to their phones.
Right.
It's like, oh, they're on their phone, they don't want to talk.
Yeah.
It's really kind of interesting. It seems like it's kind of like the most obvious symbol you can use to show that you're uninterested in somebody.
Yeah, and then there's some people that don't understand that. I think it's more in like kids though. Kids don't really
understand it, but
like,
in adults,
I don't see it a lot in adults. I
do. When I'm out and about. There was I had to take the ferry about a week ago. The Kingston Edmonds ferry was pretty quiet. There's a lot of tourists on that boat for some reason, but otherwise it was pretty quiet. It was the day before Labor Day, so that's probably why. But you could see like, there's some people having, conversations and talking and whatnot and having a good time. And then there's this one girl that I passed by when I was walking in my seat who was on her phone and she had her like legs crossed and she was facing towards the window, like just completely shut away from everybody else.
Right.
And just like, okay, first of all, like crossed and like turning away is like one thing, but then like on her phone, so she's like eliminated all eye contact, everything.
Yeah.
Is just like completely shut down from everybody else around her.
Well, do you think she was part of the group though?
No, she's alone.
She's alone. Okay, 'cause I think I've thought about this because I was just yesterday I was downtown, and I was down there early. I was gonna go to something. Actually, I was gonna go to Chris's like little little going away party. Shout out to Chris, who's going away.
He has the party, but it's probably passed already.
It's just show up anyway though. Anyway, but I was just hanging out downtown beforehand, and I was thinking, and I had some stuff to do on my phone. I was just gonna like plug in a bunch of stuff into my calendar because I have to have everything in my phone calendar.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's how I tone down my OCD.
Right.
Is I just like have a calendar with everything in it, and it just like helps me think so much. Anyway, I was just plugging in a bunch of stuff into my calendar, but I was just out there, in the park, on my phone, just sitting there, putting stuff in there for like 10 minutes or something.
Right.
And I was just thinking like, because I guess I see that whenever I see that people just on their phones, I just think, oh, they're just not interacting. But I can see that sometimes if you are the person alone on the boat, it's like I can see just wanting to.
Yeah, you heard it.
I hear it. I don't. The thing is, like, I was listening to this. I was listening to the podcast back, or one of the podcasts. I don't remember which one. And there was, all of a sudden, we started talking about a sound that was being picked up.
But you didn't hear it in the recording?
It's not in the recording. So, so I don't think people can hear that. But for, it's just our phones get too close to, like, the...
Yeah, they start having electrical interference with the,
so we
with
can
the
hear
mics.
this, like...
Yeah, well, I understand that some people are just, they want to use their phones for work or whatever.
Yeah.
And so much of our lives are on our phones where it's kind of like essential almost.
Yeah.
But whether intentional or not, even if it is inadvertent, you are shutting down a lot of potential for interaction with other people.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, understandably, you can't always do this, but if you can, understandably, you should try and separate, using your phone for business and when you don't want to use your phone at all,
Right.
If you can.
Yeah.
You can't always.
You know what I think it is? I think it's the same thing as like diet. It's really subjective.
Mm-hmm.
You've just got to know yourself well enough to know when it's okay for you to be on your phone and when you're just wasting your time and when you're wasting everyone else's time.
Right. What you got? Hey, that's us. I'm over here. Well, for me, I know I've mentioned it before, but I have a watch. So my phone's always on me, right? Yeah. But it's always when I'm out in public, my phone, unless I'm expecting a text that I need to respond to or like a message I need to respond to, it's actually on airplane mode all the time, so I don't get incoming messages. And then I have a watch for the time and everything, so my phone stays in my pocket all the time.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting because I get the. Have you got the
the Phantom?
The Phantom buzzer.
Yeah, I get that all the time.
Your phone goes off, and then you check your pocket, and
there's no message.
There's no message, or your phone isn't even in there, or something.
Yeah,
it's like you're just waiting for it to. It's so, and then they've probably done tons of studies about this, but just about how as soon as your phone goes off, you just instantly lose focus in whatever's going on around you.
Oh yeah, right? Actually, it like induces anxiety if you can't answer it.
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's totally real.
Even if you're not like panicking, you feel,
just like you want
to find out what it was.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't even let it do anything in the first place. It's just on airplane mode, so I don't get any messages.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I guess I don't know. I've always thought about that balance, right? Because I had a flip phone for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It ended up dying because flip phones fucking suck.
That was a weird transition between like the brick, like Nokia phones and smartphones, where they wanted something compact and light. So you had the flip phones.
Yeah.
And the hinges would just break, and they're just not good.
No, flip phones are not good. I've got like I thought it was a good one. It was like one of the highest rated ones, but it just died on me. Anyway, so I used that for a while. This was in middle school, back when I was having actual trouble with I don't even know if it was addiction at that point to my phone, but
I think you're more susceptible to things like that at that age.
Definitely, there was some problem I was having, and I don't know if phones were even to blame at that point, but I was using the flip phone, and I just found myself the main thing is like the apps. Mm-hmm. I had a problem because in texting and apps, because I couldn't actually. I feel like I couldn't text people
Because it's so much slower.
because it's really really slow.
Yeah.
And then I think pictures are just really hard to view.
Uh-huh.
Cameras are bad, whatnot. And so you need a lot of the apps on your phone.
Oh, it's
to
very useful.
communicate into like maps and stuff like that. And so it's really interesting because you can't like just get rid of it. And then you do like the screen time watcher things, like they have programs that like see how much like you'd spend time on different apps, whatever.
Right.
But if you've ever experimented with those, it's like
they suck.
well, it's just the reason that they suck isn't because they suck, it's because you suck.
Right.
It's just like you have all this information, you have all this data, but you don't really know what exactly to do with it because your brain's not telling you this is how focused I was, this is how efficient I was while I was on the phone. This is me just wasting time. This is me. This much of my time was just spent stimulating myself, right?
Mm.
Creating some sort of fucking just like furthering the addiction,
Right.
whatever. And it's interesting to think about like how much even if you are using your phone for work, a lot of the time you're just gonna click on like you're still gonna click on the it's so weird because as soon as you get on your phone, as soon as you click a media app,
Right.
everything in front of you is vying for your attention.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to make the best thing. That's my phone. I'm holding it too close. Yeah, so
It's on airplane mode right now.
I could hear that.
There's
I
a
could
little
hear
bit of stuff.
something,
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, so everything on there is like vying for your attention. So if you're going on your phone for business, it doesn't matter if you're going on it for business. You're still gonna click on whatever looks the most interesting or the most helpful or whatever, and then it's just a capitalist game with your head.
A little bit, yeah. On my computer, I have a web filter, and I have 3 sites on there, on Chrome. I have somebody's gonna get mad at me for using Chrome. Alex will get mad at me for using Chrome.
What's better? What's better alternative?
Firefox.
Firefox?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
One is run by Google and one's not.
But like, what's is that it?
Basically, Firefox takes up less resources. Google Chrome is infamous for hogging a lot of RAM, a lot of system memory.
Oh, okay.
I have 16 gigabytes of RAM in my computer, which is a decent amount, quite a bit actually. The average person probably needs no more than 8, but I have 16. And I was working on a school project, so I had 30 tabs open of Google Chrome, as you do, because you open something, you're like, oh, that looks like a useful link. I'll open it.
Right.
Open in a new tab, come back to it later.
They need tab folders.
They do.
Right? Like one tab that just has like 6 other tabs in it.
Yeah. But I was using up
and 3 of those tabs are other folders.
Right. Well, you can kind of do that by, which window has which in it. You can separate out the windows.
That's true.
But it was using up more than half of my system memory. Just Google Chrome was. It was bad. Like gigabytes of memory were being used up by Google Chrome.
Really?
Yeah. If you have enough tabs open, it gets pretty severe. I know I had other applications running too, so it wasn't just Chrome.
Dang.
But it was a lot.
Yeah. Well, the reason that we stopped live streaming the podcasts is because the audio would be really glitchy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 98% sure it was because of the amount of RAM that my computer has. Because I was thinking that there was a problem with the mixer that we were using, but upon further review, the mixer actually it'll record fine into my computer if the only thing open is the recording software. But if anything else is open, like for instance Chrome streaming to YouTube, then the entire system's like.
That could be RAM. Yeah, it could also be your processor. I feel like your computer probably has a good enough processor in it though.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I just recently ordered some new RAM, so not necessarily for live streaming, but
just to have.
Yeah, and for like music stuff and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see how much
improvement.
Yeah, and then I'm also gonna try Firefox instead of Chrome and see how much improvement that does.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what's happening with me was when I only had 8 GB, which was, I never hit 8 GB playing a game. Of course, that's absurd.
Oh, but side note here, Minecraft is my brother and I used to play Minecraft. We would use my parents' Macs. They destroy Macs. That game.
Does it really?
Yeah, it just like every single. There's a Mac. There's an old Mac sitting in the corner of this room. Gary can see it, but it's behind the camera. It's my dad's old work Mac. iMac. And he had to like go out in the middle of the night because he was exporting something that he had to get out like the next day or the day after, but it was gonna take 3 days to like render and export. So he had to go buy this like $2,000 garbage can computer is what it's called.
Oh, the Mac Pro. What do they call that?
Something, I don't know.
Is it a Mac Pro? Is that
garbage
a Mac
can?
Pro?
It's
I
the
know
garbage
exactly
can,
what you're
man.
talking about. Yeah.
That's what
I think that's a Mac Pro.
people call it. Anyway, it's just like this fat computer. And so he passed on that iMac to my brother, who used Minecraft like I don't know how many times. Probably not that many. And now I can't get it to work. Like it's so slow. It's just awful.
That's
anyway.
right. The new Mac Pro looks like a cheese grater, man. Have you seen this thing?
Cheese grater, what? Oh yeah, that does.
This is the old one you're talking about, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like a black garbage can. It's a garbage can.
It's $3,000. The hardware in that thing is not worth $3,000. Not even close.
Anyway, well, it helped him get his video done.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a powerful machine.
It did the thing.
It's just got the typical Apple marketing on it.
Yeah, they just upped the price by 30%, whatever.
It's absurd. All their products, not even just their phones, it's all their products. So
yeah.
That's why I like building my own
yeah.
computers.
Well, what it is though is like the thing about Apple is that they kind of hook you in because they're like, oh, sign up for our iCloud service and they have everything's connected. So as soon as you leave Apple, you can't use Apple Music, you can't use like iTunes or iCloud or like any of your services that you've signed up for. You can't like reuse them on a different phone.
Right. Yeah. Apple by far has the best ecosystem for the end user. Because it just
works.
It just works.
Yeah.
To make fun of who said that? Jensen Huang. It just works. That was when NVIDIA was releasing their ray tracing graphics cards, right? And he kept saying, "It just works. It just works.
It just works."
And then it came out and it did not work.
It just doesn't work.
It just does not work.
It just doesn't work.
But no, Apple's ecosystem is the best by far, and Google really tried to replicate that, right? With Google Play and Google Music and YouTube Red, all these different subscriptions and services and whatnot. But they haven't been able to just combine it into one service quite the same way.
I don't think they can.
I think they're too diverse, and I think their users are too diverse.
Well, because
and it's too open. Like, Apple railroads you and tells you what you can and can't do.
Yeah, and also everyone who's using Apple has been there from the start or knows someone who's been there from the start. Like that's how they built up their whole thing because they had when people were just downloading music, they had iTunes.
Right.
When they had smartphones and apps became a thing, then they had the App Store. As soon as the new medium comes out, they have it. They have it, and it's all already connected. You connect it to your iTunes account. So your iTunes account is also your App Store account. Is also your movie I guess it's still iTunes, but they're expanding iTunes.
Yeah, nobody uses that though. Nobody uses that for movies.
No, not anymore.
No, YouTube owns that, and so does Netflix.
Yeah. Anyway,
YouTube movies are great.
Yeah.
They're pretty good, actually.
Like the ones that they buy the rights.
Oh, they have just about everything. No, I mean just renting videos on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Really, actually great. I mean,
unless it's cheap and stuff, or
if the movie's been out for a while, a few years, it's $4 to rent the movie.
Okay.
And that gives you usually it gives you 48 hours to watch it once you start your rental period. But then it's YouTube, right? So you can get it. You can, easily fast forward through parts you don't want, skip around the movies. It just feels like you have more control over the movies than you do with other services, just because the YouTube experience is better. Right?
Yeah.
Their platform is better.
Right.
It's just a better platform. Like obviously Netflix is better because it's a subscription based thing that's free, right? but they don't have all the movies you
yeah.
want. And Amazon Prime has a lot of good free movies, and it's the same thing there. Not everything you want is there.
Dude, what's up with Amazon Prime, bro? They've like everything. You subscribe to Amazon Prime, you get
everything.
You get everything.
Mhm.
Not only because I thought, what is it? It's like discounted prices, right?
Yeah, no, it's the same price usually.
Or
Free shipping.
That's
free,
it.
Free
That's
2 day
it. Free
shipping.
shipping.
Yeah, and now actually,
Which is
they're starting
discounted prices, basically.
Yeah,
Free shipping.
you can get free shipping on most products on Amazon, but it takes like a week or two. Actually, Amazon Prime, they're starting to roll out 1 day shipping.
Yeah. Well, my dad buys something off Amazon. It's here either day of or next
Yeah,
day.
it's ridiculous.
It's fucking crazy.
It's great because Amazon Prime's only about $100 a year. So if you're gonna use it, it's actually a fantastic deal because you get the free movies. There's actually a lot of music you can get off of Amazon too, but nobody uses that because Spotify owns the world when it comes to music.
Right.
My Spotify account got hacked.
But Apple Podcasts owns the world of podcasts.
Right, they do.
Which is interesting because you can listen to podcasts on Spotify.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because they're the first. I think that's the only reason I can think of.
Well, they're also the first in music.
Right. But as Spotify came on and challenged them, they didn't offer a better product, right?
Yeah,
iTunes sucks. iTunes is horrendously bad.
Apple Music is...
And Apple Music is horrible, yeah. So,
But podcasts, the Apple Podcast app, it's good.
It's good, and it's
like
free.
Compared to everything else, or compared to Spotify, because people don't use a lot of other services, or they use like scattered various other services that might be better.
Right.
But Apple Podcasts is like out of the big ones, it's definitely by far the best. Because Spotify, it's like you just have like a little tiny tab in the corner of the app somewhere for podcasts.
Right. And the other problem is that Spotify is primarily music, right? You know, It's not a separate podcast thing. But also, even if you want the podcasts, I mean, you can get them for free. Spotify does have a free option.
Well, actually, all podcasts are free.
Yeah, so you can use it. But most people who use Spotify, I actually don't know. A lot of people who have Spotify, you have the free account. I don't know if it's more than premium or whatnot. But I think just because Apple is free and offers a good subscription, but was first to the market, that's why they're the biggest.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people trying to branch out and do subscription-based podcasting, but people just aren't following.
Yeah.
They just simply are not following them to those sites.
Because there's so many amazing podcasts out that are free.
Yeah. Apple set the standard to be free, which is unusual because that's not typically the Apple way.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I don't know what's the... I don't know the whole story.
It's probably just incentives to buy their phones, get the free.
Well, yeah, because podcasts weren't big.
They were not big, and it's just kind of like, well, here's a cool thing you can do with your phone.
Yeah.
You already bought our phone, and you have an iTunes account, so, might as well have access to the podcast for free. iTunes is horrible for music. Just like to mention that. It's utter trash. Spotify took over by far.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to your the 3 things that were on your web filter.
Oh, YouTube, Facebook, and Netflix.
Okay, so you use Facebook a lot?
Because I flip over there to see if I have messages.
So this is just in your Chrome web browser.
Chrome.
Because you don't want to do that while you're
while I'm
doing
working.
School stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're unblocked. But if I'm doing school stuff, I block them.
Yeah.
Even though I can very easily turn the filter off. It's one button.
My phone just went off, and I'm trying to look at you. I can't.
Go check it.
Nice. I didn't actually read it, but I got enough of it to know what it was.
Okay.
Actually, no. But the other thing about Apple though is that now that I've seen the message, I have to clear it so that it doesn't go off another 2 minutes later.
Right.
Whatever. I think you can turn that off though. But
you probably can, but it's kind of nice actually.
Yeah, but then if you're driving or something, you have to reach over there and turn it off because you don't want to get the same notification again.
Well, just as it one more time though.
Yeah, but that's too much, man. That's too much for me.
All right, that's where we differ a little bit because I don't mind hearing it once more.
Just a little vibration.
Yeah.
Anyway, to me it's just super distracting.
My phone's been on silent for when did I get my first phone? I got my first phone when I was a freshman in high school, so coming up on 6 years ago now. Whatever phone I've had since then, I've had a couple different ones. Whatever phone I've had has been on silent for the past 6 years.
Oh wow.
Because I don't need the ringer. So.
Um,
And if I miss a phone call, I miss a phone call.
damn, dude. That's dedication.
It is,
right
man.
there. On my computer, I have 3 different accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a like my account, which is just like if I want to like, do whatever, like goof off, watch YouTube, or make music and stuff like that. And then I have one to edit the podcasts. So everything on it's just littered with videos and audio files and stuff like that I can just go through and it's like because I'm really spatial.
Mm-hmm.
I have the reason that my bed isn't in this room is because I can't sleep in the same room that I work.
Right.
So I have the studio, and then I have a closet upstairs where I sleep because this is like my bedroom space.
Mm-hmm. What's supposed to be?
It's supposed to be my bedroom space. I just don't sleep here.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I have 3 different accounts, and that third account is work. So I don't have any like I don't go on Netflix or YouTube or anything like that, or I don't go on Facebook anyway, but I don't have anything that's I don't have anything that's like remotely distracting on there.
Right. Yeah, that's
Which tends to
possible.
work. It's
That's,
and then my desktop also is completely clean, just
Mhm.
school stuff,
Yeah.
if anything.
Yeah.
Which it's just it's such like a nice clear head, and it's really weird to think about the way different spaces affect you,
Mm-hmm.
and how you have clearer, more inspired thoughts if you're in a new space, if you're in
Yeah.
a different space.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so if you get really stressed a lot of the time when you're at school, you hate school, right? You hate the building. You get shivers when you walk onto campus or whatever. I mean, this happens more with middle school and like early high school.
Mhm.
But with me at least. But I can see the same thing happening with like your computer space too.
Yeah. Well, it's you can do that on a Windows PC too, where you have different accounts,
Yeah.
different users.
Yeah.
It's doesn't work as well as on Mac. Helicopter.
Oh, is that what that is?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if people can hear it through the microphones.
Probably not. It's pretty quiet.
It's low.
Yeah, you can definitely hear that.
Is that your mic that you just turned up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my mic. All right, now I need to find a good level again. That sounds pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, but for me, just having those sites blocked when I'm trying to work, because I don't even check Reddit on my desktop because it's just so much better on the app, right?
Mm.
Even diehard Reddit fans, I think, will agree with that. But so what I do is I just have those 3 sites blocked, and then all it is just when I try and go to them, it just stops me, right?
Yeah.
And that's just like the little reminder I need to be like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be working, because it's habitual for me to just switch.
It's so insane how, like, imagine you're sitting there on your computer doing your work, whatever, and you narrate everything that you do, like you're talking to someone next to you, like they're going through the same thing as you. Okay, so like, let's go to this website let's go to this history website where we can look up something about the information. Okay, let's go to the search tab and let's say, let's go look up this thing about the, American history, whatever, like what happened in 1873.
Well, probably a whole bunch of crazy stuff, man.
So you look that up and then imagine narrating. Okay, what's the time right now? Because I wonder how long I've been doing this. Oh, I've been doing this for like probably like 10 minutes, but I'm just going to say I've been doing it for like 15, 20 minutes. Also, what's up with I need to be working. I'm going to go into YouTube to look up stuff about history. And then but that's a really interesting history video from the same time period. That's probably relevant to what I'm doing right now as far as my research goes for my paper, which isn't, I mean, it's not exactly about this, but it's the same time period, so I'm sure that alternate history hub. Ooh. what would have happened if they hadn't used Uncle Sam as a as a way to get people to join? Well, it's like, imagine narrating that.
You could be crazy, man.
Someone like, what?
Be changing
What is
way too
going
often.
on? What is going on with our heads? It's like, because that's the thing, is like, you have to be able to communicate to people
Mhm.
in order to keep yourself sane, right? So as soon as you get onto the computer, it's just stimulus, 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 stimulus. So it's like there's no one else there to keep you in check either.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you've ever browsed YouTube with a friend.
Yeah, I have.
That's some insane shit right there. Like the amount of like psychological stuff that goes down, because on one hand, you guys are both used to like clicking on whatever video piques your interest.
Right.
But now you have to fight about which video to click on. You're like, I really want to watch that, and you're not used to like the having to give it up to another person. So it's I don't know. It's kind of fun to to see all that development.
That's what happens at Alex's house. He has a smart TV that we all connect our phones to, so we can all modify the queue of videos.
Oh yeah.
And at the end of the night, his queue gets really broken because we end up like clicking on the different playlists and stuff. And his queue is like 2,000 plus videos long. It's just all kinds of broken right now. But yeah, that's how we kind of go about it.
Right, just queuing it up.
Just queuing it up.
We're back. We just had a brain fart, and I just tried to figure out what I was gonna say for like 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
And I couldn't do it.
You know, I think most of my life is a brain fart.
It's
so
like
it's all good.
It's like it's just that thought that's like right there. You know, it's like,
yeah, you know what it should be?
It's like you're leaning over the edge of a cliff, reaching towards.
You know what it should be? And then any
Is
thought that enters your mind that's not that, you know it's wrong. Something feels not right about it,
Yeah.
but you can't think about what it actually was.
Yeah. Oh.
And then it comes back later and you realize it's actually not that important. It comes back like an hour later.
See, I stopped after a while. I stopped getting the ones that come back. I just had the ones that were like a little bit out. But then I did develop, you know, I did get pretty decent at oh geez, I got a sense of it again. I was like almost okay. Anyway, no, I did develop a little bit of a you know, an attitude of just brushing past it, but that one was just too strong for me.
Dang.
Anyway, we actually, when we started this podcast, the reason we were talking about Reddit was because we were gonna go through r/ask men.
Yeah, and see how we would answer these questions and compare them to the actual answers, which are not actual answers because they're also subjective answers, but how the top upvoted answers compare. The ones that struck a chord with the community.
Okay, I'm looking at the top posts of all time.
Okay, good.
So the first one is, I cheated on my girlfriend. I feel like crap. Maybe we could.
Is there a question in there?
Dating. I think it's probably at the end.
Probably. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. I've never cheated on someone, so.
Oh, I cheated. I feel like crap. Yeah. I mean, I know some people who shit's happened to, but.
I know people who it's happened to, but I don't care. It's all. I feel like there's a simple solution to cheating, but yeah.
What? Well, no. The problem is that it's not a universal solution.
In my mind, it is.
What?
No,
just don't.
Personally, it is for me.
Don't.
I understand
cheat.
It's not the same for everybody, but yeah.
Don't cheat. What's your universe? I'm curious now. You can't just say
saying
it.
Universal is incorrect. For me, for me personally, there's a very simple answer.
Like if you cheat on someone.
If I was to cheat, well, I would. I don't really have a problem if I find somebody.
No. Yeah.
No, if I find somebody who I would rather be with, in my mind, you just end it with the person you're currently with, right?
It's well, I mean, it's okay.
I understand that's hard.
It's all situational, right?
It's all situational.
But the way I see it though is that there's always going to be a better catch. Always. You're not going to
I disagree with that.
You're not going to find the one, right? You know what? But you know what makes them the one? It's the amount of time, the amount of effort and energy you put into them, the amount of time you spend together, and that's gonna make them better suited for you than anyone else. That's the way I would see it, at least.
Okay. Yeah, there's no universal answer.
Because there's always gonna be someone that's like a little bit better, you know, or someone
just
a little
different.
bit fresher, like the whole sheep thing.
The sheep thing.
Like, you know, it's like it's a new sheep.
It's a new sheep.
That's gonna turn
this one's
me
from
on
a different
more
flock, man.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, so.
Right, anyways.
Okay, so moving on to the.
I definitely don't have an answer for that one because I haven't been in that situation. So moving on.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we haven't been in the situation. Probably not good to talk about.
No.
All right. This is the second one. I went to hug a girl and she grabbed my hand and shook it.
Ooh.
What are the most isolated places on Earth known to man?
That one's pretty bad right there.
I think that's just a joke question.
Probably.
What are the most isolated places? And then it's just people talking about places.
Places, yeah.
Yeah.
That's typically how they respond, yeah. I feel like girls are usually better than guys at hugging in just a casual manner, a non-romantic manner. So I'm surprised that even happened in the first place. He must have been really off-putting.
Oh, this is a good one.
Mhm.
Sorry, I was just browsing while you were talking.
That's
I
fine.
didn't hear any of it. This is I think this isn't the subreddit that we were expecting it to be.
I know what it's about. Kind of.
Okay. I
haven't looked at Top all time.
I've never been on it before. So
It's kind of fun.
this one is what would your dating life be like if you could see in 4 dimensions?
How do you answer that?
Well, okay, let's start with the basics. What is the 4th dimension?
Theoretically, it's anything.
'Cause have you seen the 4th dimension simulator?
No, you can't even simulate that.
No, I swear this is the fucking funniest shit ever. Not funny, but it's like
Crazy.
crazy. Okay, so what it is, I'm gonna try to explain this, and you're gonna have to make sure that you understand exactly what I'm saying. Because if you don't understand what I'm saying, listeners aren't gonna understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because I'm doing hand gestures as well. But you have like it starts off. It's like I think it's like some. It's a computer simulator. So it starts off and you have like this. It's like it's on a flat screen, right? But you have this 2-dimensional world,
Mm-hmm.
like like a Mario game kind of thing,
Right.
and then slowly in the air, there's a tiny circle that appears, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like a red circle. It gets bigger and bigger, bigger. It's floating in the air, and then eventually it gets big enough that it touches the ground, and then it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But the center stays in the same spot the
Mhm.
whole time. So it's just like a ball that comes out of nowhere and then shrinks back into nothing. And then it turns that, and then like a few other like weird shapes that happens to. And then it takes that 2-dimensional simulator and then turns it into, shows you a 3rd dimension. What it is you have a 2-dimensional strip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like, width by height. And it's like a sheet of paper. And there's someone was rolling a ball through the 2-dimensional, like, the 2-dimensional world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you see the little ball that gets bigger, touches the ground, and comes back, because you're just seeing a slice of the ball as it moves through the world.
Mm-hmm.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Can you visualize it?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Visualize it. Mhm.
Yeah. So you can do the same thing with other shapes. You roll them through whatever. If there was a human that walked through, you'd see his guts.
Mm. Yeah.
Like they have those. What do they do with brain scans? They do the same thing.
Right.
The way that they image it goes from front to back, and you see it like that. So that's kind of what that was. Anyway, so then what they did is they took a 3-dimension. They only got to the next step, the one step after that.
Mm.
If it's a 2-step, so 2D, then 3D. Now we're taking that 3D, and now we just have like the same thing, where it's just a 3-dimensional ball that starts off really small. It gets bigger, and this is the ball floating there. It gets bigger. The center stays in the same spot, and then it gets smaller again and disappears.
Mm.
That's the 4th dimension simulator. It's just seeing the 4th dimension in the 3rd dimension.
Well, I'll have to look that up, but we don't know what the 4th dimension looks like because it's not comprehensible by the human brain.
Yeah.
So that's just anything that we describe as being the 4th dimension is just some augmentation of one of the other 3 dimensions that we know of.
I think that one's so. I thought that was really clever. Whoever came up with that idea.
Yeah.
I
I'll have to look that up
was
because
just
I'm curious now. But
that
yeah,
was just awesome. I don't know what the hell the 4th dimension means.
what doesn't
People
mean
people
anything
say
because we don't know
people
what
say
it is.
it's time.
No,
No.
time is not a dimension that we know of.
Well, it's not the same kind of dimension as the first 3. Is
Well,
it spatial though? Maybe.
We don't know. The human brain can't comprehend the 4th dimension. Like we literally can't.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how you can't think of nothing, right? You ever tried?
Think of.
You can't.
I can't do the meditation.
You can't
voice.
comprehend nothing.
Think of nothing.
Right.
Focus on this red dot. And
Not like that. Not like that.
You got distracted, didn't you? Try the Headspace app. Learn to meditate.
Learn to meditate.
Learn the ways of the monks.
The monk. No, but think about this. Like our universe, right? We've determined that it's expanding, right?
Right.
So you assume that it has a boundary somewhere. Well, then what lies beyond it? The only thing you can really think of is more space.
Oh, you mean like literally like we can't imagine.
We cannot comprehend the concept of nothing.
Because the way I would think about it is that it's like, oh, you get to the end of space and then there's just no more matter. But isn't that space, though?
Right.
It's
you can't comprehend there being nothing.
Yeah.
Or go back to the Big Bang, right?
Yeah.
Think about what was there before. If nothing, then how is there something?
Yeah.
Like things and nothing can't coexist.
Yeah, I like what's that? Audrey told us about some religion that's that Dylan and I both really resonated with, which was that God created the universe and then dipped.
I don't know what that one's called.
Because it's like I hate the Big Bang Theory because it adds so much complication. You know,
it may be true.
Like,
I don't know.
I just don't like thinking about stuff coming out of nothing. You know, I
Right.
like thinking about. I like the humanity of it. You know, I'm a really social person, but I wasn't raised religious, so I can't really connect with the world in that social way, right? Like I don't think that God made the whatever, but I like thinking that he just like kind of that there's just some human that just made stuff appear as opposed to nothing.
Right. Well, it's kind of like, if you don't mind me going into my own personal beliefs a little bit.
Do it.
It's not political, so it's probably fine. In my mind,
it's not political. It's religious. Probably fine.
In my mind, if there is nothing, right, you can't imagine there being this universe with nothing before it, right? There had to be something that created it. And the way that science has explained it is through the Big Bang. Yeah. Saying all the matter in the world was contained in like one like speck the size of a pin or something like that.
And then what's the thing that I can think of that's like evidence for that is redshifting.
I mean, there's some evidence for it, and I'm not saying it's not true, but in my mind, there had to be something before it, but then there had to be something before that and something before that, right? So that's where it gets convoluted and something we can't quite figure out.
Yeah. Well,
but in
if
my
it was
mind,
the beginning of space, wouldn't it also be the beginning of time?
Right? See, that's why it's confusing.
Yeah.
In my mind, there had to be something greater before that, right?
Something greater.
Something supernatural that we can't comprehend.
Okay, yeah.
In order to create things that we can comprehend, there had to be something that we can't comprehend before that. Right.
So
that's my opinion.
Okay, yeah.
That's my opinion. In order to create something,
what is that? Like, so what's do you have an idea of what that is?
Like
is
God.
that like a religion? Yeah. Yeah. God.
Yeah.
So then, do you think God looks like the nothingness that it's around the universe? If he's incomprehensible, then what's the difference between him and what's incomprehensible to scientists? Like
what?
As in like nothing. So right, you say so scientists are like, or what you're saying is like outside the universe there's nothing, right?
That we know of.
It's incomprehensible.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between that incomprehensible nothingness and God?
Perhaps nothing.
Maybe he wears a cooler shirt.
Maybe I don't know.
Maybe he gets like,
or at least his capabilities are not comprehensible, right? Something.
Yeah.
In our human description, something supernatural.
How do you think God wipes his ass?
I don't know, man.
Do you think he stands up?
I feel like he can just will it to just like
wipe it. No,
I don't even think he would have to wipe at all.
No, because then why does he? It's like
why would
no
he
one's
have to have waste at all. I don't know.
Well, then I mean,
I don't know the answer to this.
He's not a character then if he's just nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
God's got to be a character, you know.
I don't know. That's just my opinion as to why anything can exist in the first place.
Yeah.
But then there's things like evolution is a pretty sound concept.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's very scientifically sound. And that creates a lot of conflict between people who believe that God created the creatures of this world and that evolution created the creatures of the world.
Religion definitely isn't an all or nothing deal anymore.
No, and I don't understand why it has to be. I think evolution can absolutely exist inside Christianity. That's my belief.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think anything has to be. In America, there's no expectations about what you believe. You can believe whatever the hell you want.
Well, it's not a matter of what you believe. It's a matter of whether
Of
what you believe is
what's truth, right?
verified by science.
Like,
which science is basically, our definition is something that is objectively true.
yeah, but I mean, at this point, science is like so, like, it's science is like, to me, it feels like there's almost as much corruption as in politics.
Yeah, but there's some things that are there are some things in science that are fundamental truth.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
you cannot deny.
A lot more than, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think that's why I think that evolution, which is at this point an objective truth, does fit into Christianity and the teachings of the Bible.
Yeah.
Right. Because just because the Bible says that God created the heavens and the earth and all the creatures doesn't mean that it wasn't through a process of evolution, right?
Yeah.
It could have taken him
billions
of years to create the heavens and the earth. And the Bible says it took him a day, The Bible says God created everything in 6 days.
The Bible says a lot of wacky shit.
It does. It's really crazy, man. But it's weird. It's something I struggle with
Harvard,
because Huh?
So does Harvard.
Yeah, for sure.
You just can't take everything.
But that's what's weird because the Bible was written by many different people.
Right.
Right. So they're all humans. So how can you expect them to know the exact same things? That's where it gets kind of convoluted,
Yeah.
And the Bible is very clear that humans are flawed creatures and make mistakes. We know that, right? That's not a secret. And yet it also says that the Bible written by people is the objective truth. It's all fact.
So or you're going to...
Like it says it's the word of God, right?
Yeah.
Like divinely inspired, but it's all physically written by people.
Yeah.
That are supposedly flawed creatures. That's where it gets convoluted. But then there's also things like the King James version of the Bible. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
It's one of the more...
You're going to have to explain it to me again.
Well, I don't know the exact details of it. It's, the Bible was originally written in Hebrew, right?
Yeah.
So it's been translated several times over the years. It's been translated in different ways. And King James, the actual King James, made his own version of the Bible.
I don't know who King
Translate.
James is,
He's a king along the way. I don't know exactly. King James, yeah, probably of England. I don't know exactly. Many, many years ago, hundreds of years ago, translated the Bible again, and he added some passages that weren't in there originally to try and
James. You know what? James would be the if he was an English king, he would be the English king with a mullet. Like he would be that
I can see
king,
that, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, he added some passages to the Bible to try and I can't remember his exact goal, but he modified the Bible to his own will to try and support kings better.
Oh,
because the Bible is very very clear that it's not a big fan of government. And he tried to really or kings, monarchs, and he tried to really rewrite that in a way that favored himself.
Well, then there's that the thing that they teach us in school, the Anglican Church was just born out of the guy who wanted a divorce with his wife.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the main form of, if you're going to a Christian church in this world today, especially in the United States, it's almost certainly Protestant, one of the Protestant denominations, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like Catholicism, because even though it's based on the teachings of the Bible, I don't like the concept of the Pope, and neither does the Bible. There should be a really sharp contradiction there.
Right.
Because the Bible says that no man should have the amount of power the Pope does, as far as religion is concerned.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. So Catholicism, in my mind, is very contradictory, very not okay.
Yeah, it's very blurry. It's very muddy. Everything's very muddy.
Yeah.
Because there's so many intentions that
yeah, that's why because regardless, I mean, people screw everything up is basically what you can sum it all down to, is that people mess up everything.
Right.
Because the King James Version, what I was getting at, is one of the more popular translations of the Bible. And yet it has passages that were not originally in the Bible 2,000 years ago. So it's like, oh, hold on.
Yeah. Well, regardless of what the Bible says, I think most people nowadays, in this I mean, how much like most of the world, the thank you, Gary, for teaching me this word. The plurality of the world is Christian, I believe, right?
I'd honestly believe it's Muslim. I want to look this up. I want to look this up.
I remember at some point when I was looking at an atlas in middle school, the atlas said that it was Christian.
It may be, but there's a lot of
there's a lot of everyone.
There are a lot of Muslims.
There are a lot of everyone. I don't know. I don't think people can hear it, but Gary's using his phone and we can hear it picked up on the mics. I'll
It's still getting it. Well, that is has the most followers.
Yeah, because I would think. I guess I would think it would be Christianity, but I mean, I've also been raised in a super Christian environment.
Okay, so you were right. It's Christianity with, according to this estimate, is 2.4 billion. Islam 1.8 billion. And then the next one, the number is overlapping with the the title because it's secular / non-religious / agnostic / atheist with 1.2 billion. And then Hindu after that with 1.15. So it is Christianity followed.
Yeah.
Not so closely, but the second closest being Islam.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I think that most people at this point, they don't, no one, because you can't follow the entire Bible, right? Unless you're crazy.
You can.
You can, unless you're crazy. Right?
What do you mean?
Unless you're not crazy. What?
Huh? I don't know what you mean.
I just screwed up my phrasing.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
People who follow the entire Bible.
Right.
Like word for word. Are crazy. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, because it's a long book. It's a very dense book.
It's a dense book, and if you I don't know. Anyway,
that's why the 10 Commandments exist.
Regardless of how much of the Bible you read or how much of it you believe or what you think the intentions of the Bible are, I think most people, religious people, are just believe that God is there. They're learning a bit about the history of God, but for the most part, I think it's just like God is there.
Right.
And so they have a little bit of knowledge and they like the history and whatever, and so they can. But so my question for you is: do you pray? Do you believe that there's like a way you can connect with God, or gain any sort of?
Yeah, but there's no ritual to it for me.
Like it's purely like a mental thing.
Yeah, it's a mental thing.
So you can connect with him that way.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of effect do you think he has? Because I've never really interviewed a Christian before, but
well, here's what I believe is that, and the Bible is clear about this too, is that everybody who's put on this earth is here for a reason, right?
Okay. So,
but you have to understand that humans also have free will. So it's in my mind, and I think this is kind of the same message that's reflected in the Bible, is that we have a purpose that we will find if we're willing to find it. But we have the choice to not also.
So how would one go about finding their path or with finding their destiny or whatever?
Listening.
If you can call it destiny. Listening.
Not to sound cliche, but listening to God. But also listening to yourself and knowing what, you need to be doing.
So if your connection to God is through your mind, then would you be listening to your mind, to yourself?
For me, I can tell.
And so you could find it within yourself.
For me, I can tell when it's my own thought and when it's somebody else speaking to me. It's maybe hard to understand, but I mean, for you, I don't know if it is or not.
Yeah.
If you don't have personal experience, but for me, I can tell.
Yeah.
Where the messages are coming from.
That's interesting. So are they like clear?
They're clear. They're very direct.
Okay, so do you know what your purpose is then?
No.
So is he just like beating around the bush?
Or maybe I do. I mean, what I think I want to do with my life is be an electrical engineer, and maybe it's not that we have one specific purpose, right? Where we need to do this. Maybe it's that we need to be here. We need to be our best selves.
All right.
So that we can serve a purpose even if we don't realize it.
Okay. So how much does God influence? I don't have the connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do I?
Well,
if I don't recognize it,
if you're not doing it yourself,
because I don't believe in God. I'm atheist, whatever. I have
right?
been my whole life. Do I have the same kind of connection?
The potential for the connection is there, but you're not exercising it. So no.
So am I, because I'm to the people that aren't, I guess. Well, I guess, would you count like Muslims and Jews as being connected? I guess. Anyway, well, whatever. Any religion that doesn't follow the same God, are they the troublemakers?
Not
They're the
inherently
people
troublemakers.
But they're the people that don't go with God's plan, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess in a sense.
Yeah.
That's where it gets weird. Right.
That's the first place it gets weird?
Well, there's a lot of places. That's
Yeah.
a place where it gets weird. Anyways, what were you saying though?
No, I
Or was
mean,
that
I guess
what you're gonna
that's
say?
kind of my question. Is like, if it's the people who aren't, like, I'd be like, how do you think that my thoughts are impacted by God? And do you think it matters? Like, how much do you think it matters? Because Mormons will go out and they'll convert people because they want to spread kind of like what you're saying, that in order for the world to be the best place that it can be, we need to have guidance to make it the best it can be, and that guidance is through
Right.
God, right?
Mhm.
And so would you think it would make a difference if you have the connection with Him?
Yeah, it does make a difference.
Because it's easier to know where you're going.
Yeah, I can listen and know what's best, and also the teachings in the Bible
Right.
help me live lead a better existence.
See, that's the idea I can get down with.
Mhm.
The Jordan Peterson method.
Yeah,
The Jordan
absolutely.
Peterson approach.
Yeah.
Just like a very objective, like,
Very objective
we're gonna
approach to
dissect
understanding
the-
religions.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many messages in all those religions. I think all religions have merit.
Yeah.
They really do, and I think you should understand as much as you possibly can. It doesn't mean that's what you truly
Yeah,
want
well,
to
I mean,
serve.
that's what I like about a lot of, I guess a lot of religious texts. It's like get past the dogma. For fellow atheists, get past the dogma. I mean, just I guess people in general, but particularly atheists, get past the dogma, or people of different religions, get past the dogma, and try to figure out what inherent human truths there are, right?
Right.
Because
That's
like, because the only history you get is like through history class, or like you get history, but as far as what the human things that you need to know about relationships and about communication and about meaning and all that, like you have to find that in a world where we are taking in more information than we're finding out. Why don't we just take in all that information, right? Like it's just, that's just a medium that we can really learn how to be,
right.
So we can explore other things,
Right.
and not have to worry about how to be a good person.
Right. Yeah. Well, the Bible is so there's the Old Testament and the New Testament, right? The New Testament is starts with the birth of Christ, and it's much more loving, much more, I don't know what the word is, much more spiritual, right? We're not inclusive. I think it's about the same as far as that's concerned, but it's much more spiritual. Whereas the Old Testament, God is vicious, right? He strikes people down. He turns people to pillars of salt. He murders people.
I want to live in those days, man. That sounds like a blast.
Right. Well, I guess he doesn't murder people, but because that contradicts what he one of the 10 Commandments.
Right.
And that's Old Testament stuff. But that's more historical.
Well,
then.
does he follow the 10 Commandments?
Well, yeah.
But then he still turns people into salt or whatever.
Well, I guess it's assumed that, because that's where there's a lot of gray area, and that's why I'm trying to comprehend it. Right?
yeah. Okay.
So I won't speak. I won't
Right.
speak necessarily completely objectively about this, because there's a lot of instances in the Old Testament where things like that happen, where he commands his armies, the armies of Israel, right, to go out and attack and kill other armies.
Yeah.
Right. And then the Old Testament's like, oh, you probably shouldn't, or the New Testament's like, oh, you shouldn't do that anymore. It's like, what?
Yeah.
That's where it's kind of like, yeah.
Yeah. Or I mean, okay. I think I might have heard this story wrong, but I was at church the other week. But okay, that was a fun time because I don't get embarrassed easy, but I don't go to church ever. And so I went to church. It was a Catholic church. I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't go because I'm converting or anything, but because there's a guy there talking that I was interested in listening to.
Right.
Anyway, no, I was like, I did not. When everyone got up to like do something, I was like, what? What are we doing?
Right.
Anyway, there was rituals I was not.
Catholicism
attuned
is
to.
all about rituals.
Yeah.
That's
that.
That's another thing I don't like about Catholicism is the rituals.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
aren't rituals in the Protestant denominations.
Well, anyway,
Not in the same way, anyways.
the speaker there who was talking was the guy that the reason I went was because Dylan really liked this guy, and he asked the guy to be on the podcast, and he agreed, but apparently he just agreed to get Dylan to stop talking to him. And this was a while ago, so anyway, he asked him again, and he's like, no. I try not to make a public appearance, whatever.
Right.
Or an
I heard
online
about that.
appearance.
Yeah.
Anyway, but this guy was saying that Jesus was like mad at someone and told him to drop dead, and then like he did something like that. I heard that, and that just made my morning.
I'm not familiar with that one.
I don't know. I just heard that out of the blue, and everyone was laughing, and I think I missed something because everyone started laughing. I was like, "What? Jesus just killed someone? What the heck? What's that? Why is it laughing?"
Right.
Anyway, I thought maybe that's Catholic thing. I
don't know, actually.
No, no, I'm kidding. Anyway, I was gonna move on. So you can make this as spiritual as you want to make it, but I have a question relating to religion. I guess could be related to religion. What do you believe about life after death?
I believe that there's an afterlife. There's a heaven.
And what does that look like? Because I
don't know what it looks like.
How do they describe it? How do people describe it? Or how does the Bible describe it?
City of gold.
Okay. Do you get bored?
What?
Do you get bored of?
No. There's no pain. There's no suffering.
So it kind of sounds like opium.
Sure. We'll go with opium.
You just I think the best way to die would be an opium overdose.
Okay.
Is that kind of what it would just be like overdosing on?
I've never overdosed on heroin before, so I don't know.
Me neither, believe it or not.
Hey.
But hey, Air 5. Yeah. Anyway, I know, but I was just wondering, like, what do you think it would look like? Do you think it would be the City of Gold? Just like a...
I don't know what it looks like physically.
I don't know. I'm very curious to have some more imagery.
I mean, no human who's alive on Earth knows what heaven looks like.
What about the people who die and come back? What do you think about that?
Only one man in the Bible ever came back from heaven. So.
But there are people who die. Like in real life, there are people who die.
Oh, you know what? That's true. That's true.
Not to say the Bible isn't real life, but there are people
in recent times. That's true.
In the news who die.
That's true.
And they'll be out for like a few hours.
That's true. I don't know what their depictions are actually.
Because yeah. Oh, actually, God.
It's a good point. You should look that up.
I
didn't even think about that. Yeah, because there are people. There's an interesting story. And they actually made a movie about this, where a young boy died while undergoing surgery, and came back a few minutes later, and was able to like draw the images he saw when he was dead.
Oh,
and the same thing happened to a young girl, like somewhere else, completely else in the world.
Oh, jeez.
And their descriptions, their pictures all matched.
Yeah.
So they made a movie out of that, and the movie was kind of bad, but that was just an objectively like bad movie.
That's kind of dope, though.
It's pretty sick.
That's like the twins, like the what separated at birth, twins that had the exact same life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's some crazy stuff.
Or the twins that are convinced they can feel the other one's pain. That's a real phenomenon though in our quantum entanglement.
Oh, you think that those are people at quantum?
No. But quantum entanglement is a real phenomenon. Yeah, which is really cool.
I think I'm gonna have to like do a way deeper Google search to
find all these pictures and stuff. Yeah.
Not the. Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. The Miracle Man who went to heaven and came back. March. Daryl Perry.
Nice.
Daryl Perry died. Let's see. What was his description of heaven, though?
But not for long.
But I think they're just describing the whole story right now.
Right.
Let's see. In the presence of God, Perry says, there's no fear, no anger, only peace. In the middle of his celebration, Perry says God spoke to him. My people have forgotten my power, he heard God say. He said, son, go back. Perry couldn't believe what he was hearing. Now he didn't want to go back. He refused. He said, no. Then, he says, God pulled back the veil between heaven and earth and let him see his family. There they were, smiling, frozen, like in a picture. The same peace he felt when... Okay, that's kind of... Yeah, so cheesy stuff. But that doesn't describe how heaven would look like, though.
Maybe nobody's actually seen it.
Yeah. Wait, what they were saying, so he pulled back the curtain, and then there was his family.
Right, sounds
was that
like
heaven?
No, because his family is still alive. Sounds like. Unless it's his dead family.
My question would be, like, wouldn't heaven kind of suck if, like, people that you liked were still alive?
No.
I guess it would just be like...
Because you're free of pain and suffering. You're in peace. And you know they'll join you eventually. You wait for them. You know they'll be there.
And then, does it get better once they're there?
I have to imagine it does.
But then, isn't it supposed to be like the best it can be already? But then once they get there, it gets even better.
It doesn't mean it's as good as it will ever be. It means maybe it only means it can only get better. I don't know. Nobody's ever seen it.
Right.
So I know in all the accounts I've heard of people dying, they've never actually experienced heaven in the sense. Right. They all say they have encountered God and then been returned.
Yeah, so he's like, he shot them down at the gate.
Yeah.
He's just like, no.
He's like, no, you're not ready. Which I guess is more, if you want to call it evidence that he has a plan, That's one thing that it does say in the Bible is that no man knows what the plan is. Only God knows.
Well, why doesn't he just fucking tell us then? He's got all these people who believe. Then they would just follow him if he told them. I'm sure, right?
Maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is to follow without knowing.
That's cool. That's just confusing then.
Well, it's like if you marry somebody who's extremely wealthy, but you don't know they're wealthy. You marry them for themselves.
Man,
that has more meaning than marrying them for their money.
I don't know if that's how I would.
That's how I think of it.
That's really frustrating. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. And that's what's confusing about it. That's what deters a lot of people. It seems like there is no point because we don't know the plan. Or even if we did know the plan, it's like, why is there a plan?
Right.
What is the plan if it's not on Earth? Maybe we just can't comprehend.
What's the intent of the plan?
What's the intent of existence, right?
Maybe, you know what I think it is? You know what I think? I think I got it. I think I figured out God.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Here it is. So, you know what they say about creatures who are really small? Like, I was down at Fish Park the other day, and there was this...
The Paulsbo Bull Zone.
Paulsbo Bull Zone. And I was looking out over the, I guess the tip of the bay, whatever. And the tide was out. It was nice. It was sunny. It was peaceful. This little dragonfly, swoops up. And then in the blink of an eye, he was back down the other way. Just thinking, this dragonfly, right? He's coming up to take a glance at me, but he's not just seeing me for a split second and then leaving. He's probably looking around a bit, taking a sniff. Just kind of scanning the area, right? He's living it up in that moment before he turns around. But by the time I even notice he's there, he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, because that's what they say, the bigger the creature, the slower they process time.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe God, he's trying to get us all to do the shit that he wants us to do, but like as he's coming up with a way to enact his plan, it's just taking him so long to us. But to him, he's just like, he's been doing it for like a few hours now.
Exactly.
And he's just been like fucking like writing shit down, and then someone comes up and he's like, "Oh, I'm busy. Go back down," you know. And then he's just like he's up there, but he doesn't realize that or maybe he does. Maybe he's just like, I'm gonna take my time.
Well, that's like
or like before he was really getting in the action, you know, during like the old, you know, when they were writing about the Old Testament, like early Earth times, and now he's like, okay, there's something wrong. Let me just go back to the drawing room for a sec. And then he like leaves us all here to do whatever we want for a little bit. And then he's going to come back and be like, "Hey guys, I got an idea."
Right. Well, that
what do you think of that, Gary?
That really is in line with what I was saying about how like the scientific explanations for why this earth exists line up with the spiritual, the biblical ones, right? Maybe, you know, the billions of years it took to create the mountains, right? Maybe that's a day in God's time.
Right.
You know,
he's just
maybe it's very possible.
Yeah.
And a day is arbitrary.
You know what I totally believed when I was little?
What's that?
Like, I believed it just because it was like one of those thoughts that gave me chills when I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were just like in an alien laboratory.
Oh,
and it was like you know those like spheres that you'll touch and it's like electricity will go to your, I don't know what those are called. I used to have one, but I was just thinking like the universe is just like one of those. It's just like a little tiny dot inside this like sphere that's just in a like a laboratory. Like I would just imagine like a doctor's office with a bunch of like blue aliens in like doctors.
Yeah.
Coats, or, you know, like lab coats, whatever.
It very well could be, for all we know.
And they're just like, it's just like this one guy, this one like weird alien who's like messing around, and his coworker's like, "Yo, Jimmy, what are you fucking doing over there? We got shit to get done."
Right.
And he's just like, "What, guys? Look what I did here."
I made life.
There's like, I think there's like little things in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
little ant colony.
Yeah, a little ant colony. Yep.
Yeah, it's very possible, man. The Bible, I'm going to call it back again. So if you believe in evolution, as I do, and if you're willing to play the probability game, the numbers game, then there is intelligent extraterrestrial life.
Right.
Without a doubt, there is. But once again, the Bible supports that as well. Right? In the Bible, it says that we are God's children, but it doesn't say we're his only children. It never says that the earth is the only place we exist.
Does it say that God's the only God?
It does say that.
Probably, yeah.
It does say that. But it doesn't say that we are his only creatures. For all we know, there are billions of other planets with intelligent life.
You know what? Wait, okay, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that God knows, like, everything? Or do you think he just knows, like, most stuff? Or do you think he knows, like, just the stuff that he can keep track of in his head? Or do you think because like if it is true that his perception's, you know, like slow or whatever, then he wouldn't be able to take in as much. And maybe he can only see a few million light years each direction or something like that. But then beyond that, there could be like gods with other territories. Like, dude, what if there were other gods with other territories, like outside of
these are
the
things
Milky Way?
These are things we
like
don't
that.
know the answer to.
Like, wouldn't that be dope if we just like there was another god that came down and started like having a duel with God?
Yeah, these are things that humans will never know the answer to, which is crazy. Cool, but crazy. Well, yeah, it's that's the other thing. You know how you can't comprehend nothing?
Right.
We also can't comprehend the idea of a God that is all powerful. We can't. Because in order for God to be the greatest entity in the world,
you know what it is?
It can't be the only one. There has to be something else.
Well, I wouldn't think about it like that.
By human concepts.
The reason that I can't comprehend it is because I can't see the intent.
Right.
Because it's like why is that chair sitting there?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Is that part of his plan? Is his plan for us to just sit here and like chill out because there's some people that aren't chilling out right now, and they should be chilling out, right?
Right. Yeah. See, I can't answer
And
this.
so I think that's the reason that I think people have that'd be the hard time with having a being that's all powerful, because like, what the fuck is he doing? If he's really all powerful, then everything that happens is based on intent, his intent. And where's that coming from? Where's the intent coming from?
That's a hard one to understand, and it's one that I don't have an answer to. There are.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you can't comprehend.
Right.
An all powerful.
Yeah, you can't answer it. So that's why it's an obstacle. It's a deterrent for a lot of people. Yeah, and it's rightfully so. It's a difficult concept.
Yeah.
So it's what I believe, but in order to believe it, you have to accept that you don't know everything.
Right.
And you can kind of understand that you even even somebody who's not religious can understand that they don't know everything.
No, I'm pretty sure I feel the same way about religion as I do about politics, and you know how I feel about politics.
Right.
It's like, just okay.
Just who cares?
Just go with it. Yeah, it's like, it's all entertainment value anyway, is the way I think about it. It's just, it's just like the adding a little spice to life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't see any direct output. I can't see any direct difference between, people who worship and people who don't worship. I don't see any, like, it's like, I don't think of them as like a better person or anything. Like, I don't see it. The only thing would be like the motivation is something I can't see.
Yeah, that's why it's difficult.
Which is the whole faith thing, right?
It's all faith.
But then that goes to one of my values.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really believe in like faith in general, because like, say, what faith is believing. My definition of faith would be, believing without evidence, I guess would be one way to say it. Because like, I don't have faith in my friends. I have trust.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Those two words are synonymous in my mind.
And they're not in my mind, which is interesting. Maybe that's the only difference between believers and non-believers.
Maybe. I don't know.
Is how they view the word faith.
Well, I don't know the actual definition of faith. I use faith in different applications. I would trust, like you said, but they are synonymous in my mind. Three words that kind of get are completely interchangeable in my mind are trust, faith, and loyalty. Or at least exist in the same sphere.
Well, I guess loyalty.
I'm an idiot. Loyalty.
I think loyalty would just be.
It's loyalty. It's
loyalty. Sticking to something.
Right.
Sticking with the same people. That's what I guess we go to trust. Like, you trust the person. No, not even that. But loyalty is just sticking with someone no matter what.
Yeah. Maybe that one doesn't. Maybe we can throw that one out. But trust and faith exist in the same sphere.
The way I view like faith would be, like taking a leap of faith is a completely different concept than taking a leap of trust.
How so?
Because a leap of trust would be, I see the trampoline there. I know the guys who are, I know the guys who set it up. I trust them because they've done me no wrong in the past. Faith would be, it's dark out, but I think there's a trampoline there. That's the difference to me. It's like, right. I believe that there's a trampoline there, but I just can't see it.
Right. But maybe it's more abstracted in religion. And it's harder to create harder to create a real world analogy for this.
Analogy. Yeah, dude, like, I fucking love the real world though. That's my
Earth. I always try and say Earth, physical world, the world that we can comprehend.
Yeah, I think this conversation has dried out
a little bit. I was just gonna say, as far as faith is concerned, it's not entirely blind faith. It's just more abstracted, right? Where in a religion it says there is a purpose. Yeah, you don't know what it is.
There's two different meanings.
Believe that there is a purpose, right? Trust that there is a purpose. So there's still something there, right? Yeah. Even if you don't know what it is. It's kind of like saying, the difference between jumping onto a trampoline or jumping and knowing that there's something to catch you, but you don't know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like if your friend's standing next to you, right? He says, okay, jump. You can't see what's down there. There's a trampoline, right?
Yeah.
Or jump. You will be caught. And that's it.
Right.
Maybe it's still hard to make an analogy, but.
Yeah. That's exciting stuff, though, man. That's really fun to think about.
It's something to pursue and learn, yeah.
Yeah, I can see why Audrey's so interested in religion, doing the whole world religion weekly thing.
Yeah, and her approach is interesting. It's very, I think, for a religious person or a non-religious person, what that thing say, secular, atheist, agnostic, whatever it was. And as a non-religious person, it's very valuable to understand as much about religion in general as you can.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, but at her approach, she has a hard time with faith.
Right. That's the part she struggles with.
Because she's studying it instead of learning it.
She's struggling the tenets of the religion and the history of the religion. Right.
Yeah.
But not the involvement of the religion.
I mean, but that's the thing that I always say is like the only reason that someone would convert to a different religion is, I think the biggest reason, not the plurality, but the vast majority of the reason that someone would convert faith after, like, when they get to my age or later,
right,
is like genuinely not just like doing it so that they don't get shot or whatever,
right?
But or for a girl, but the reason, I think the main reason would be some kind of like trauma or big life event or some kind of discontentment.
Yeah.
Or like a large discontentment.
Right.
That'd be the only reason that someone would else. And Audrey's like, she's fine. She's happy.
Mm-hmm.
She's learning about it because she says she's agnostic, but the more religion she learns about, the more she's viewing it as separate from reality, right? It's like the more she's viewing it as something that's worth being studied, like history. She studies it like she would study history. She's going around looking, gathering.
Yeah, and there's a lot of merit to that.
Yeah, she's probably learning a lot more than most just normal religious people about religion, but she's not going to believe it. I'm saying that's not going to help her believe.
Yeah,
the religions
that's fair.
At all, because she sees all the different sides, and so how's she going to pick one? Whichever one's the coolest, whichever one resonates with her the most. It's I think it's whichever one you crawl to when you're on the brink of,
There's a funny scene in Arrested Development where he gets put in solitary confinement, and then he's like going insane in his cell after probably just a couple hours, but the show makes it look like it's been several days or something. He's like going insane, and then the sun shines through the window, and there's like a pattern in the window, like like a cross diagonal like pattern, and it displays a Star of David on the wall. So he gets up and he's like bowing to it, and he converts to Judaism afterwards.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, but I get
Yeah,
I understand that completely, and it makes sense. But I think there's one God. There's one correct way to do it, and the tenets of a religion in general are formalities, right?
Yeah.
And actually, the Christian religion is very, very, very free of rigid rules. Most of it is guidance, right? There are 10 commandments, right? That you must.
You know how we reviewed the 12 rules for life?
Should we review the 10 commandments?
We should review the 10 commandments. I don't know if I agree with this one completely, because I think the reason that God said it was, God had this intention, but I think I think that it's not a good rule. But maybe someone who really needs it might need it.
I think if you read the 10 we can all agree on the 10 commandments.
I don't actually know the 10 commandments. But
they're pretty straightforward. We can look at them later.
I'm sure I followed them probably. I was raised in Paulsville.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Most people who live a good life already follow the
12
rigid
rules for life, the 10 commandments.
They're different. Trust me. But most people who lead a good life,
Jordan Peterson is my religion.
sure.
Yeah.
People who lead a good life by human standards. Once again, those are human standards.
Right.
We have set up arbitrary meanings for good things like that. So what is good by human standards is maybe not be good by Martian standards.
I'm sure there's already a thing for like something atheist Bible, just like how to live your life without the dogma, right?
It may be a thing.
It's probably a thing, yeah.
But we have standards of how to, what a good person should look like already
Yeah.
that you can strive to follow, even as a non-religious person. And those are already pretty much entirely in line with the tenets of Christianity.
I think being a good person, let's think about being a good person, right? Everything that's related to being a good person is related to having a good society, right? Having everyone work together,
Right.
and it's the people who work together are the people who survive.
Right.
So by evolution, we already
Yeah.
understand and follow these rules.
Yeah, and
because
that,
we're
that
social.
makes perfect sense as to why that would happen that
Yeah.
way.
So
but-
God's just articulating it for us in a very consumable way.
Yeah, but I was going to say the true meat of the religion,
Yeah.
what it preaches as the true importance of the religion, what Christianity preaches is the relationship with God and with Christ, right? The actual relationship. The formalities are, what's the word? Extraneous, right?
Right. That's kind of comes back to what I was saying about people who they don't. It's not so much in the practices, and it's not in word for word in the Bible. It's just like the connection that you have, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that's why Catholicism, their rituals don't do anything for me.
Yeah.
They don't mean anything to me. And same, yeah. So it's, at the end of the day, most of religion is confusing.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it's all boiling down to. All right, back to Ask Men.
Oh yeah.
If you want to.
What time are we at?
An hour 34.
An hour 34. Oh, we're doing good.
We're doing good.
Okay.
I still got some more talkie in me though.
I could. Well, I mean, Gary, you know that we could go forever.
Yeah, I do
you
know
know
that.
that we could go forever. We got to stop it at some point, though.
Right. I really like the conversation we just had though.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like we should cut it at like 11 because I have to wake up early tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, we're inching towards it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, let's see. What was the idiotic game you and your stupid friends played growing up? So, okay. So this guy has an example.
Okay, let's hear it.
He says, my buddies and I used to turn the lights out in the basement and throw those giant exercise balls through the pitch darkness in random directions trying to hit each other.
I know exactly mine.
The fear, the anticipation, and the sound of the balls whistling through the dark. The game only had downsides and shouldn't have ever been created. What's yours?
I know exactly what my game is.
Yeah.
We called it Juggernaut, okay? Because this is back when we were all playing Call of Duty.
Okay.
So we would go on Alex's trampoline late at night, right? Pitch blackout. And what we would do is we'd have one person that we blindfolded
Oh, yeah?
with a bandana. We would blindfold them. And then we had one big like kickball type thing in the trampoline.
Okay.
And the goal was for the person who was blindfolded they had to tackle at least one other person. And they just basically the whole point of the game was to just avoid this one person who's blindfolded and who is randomly flailing their body around trying to find somebody
Right.
while blindfolded. So it would be terrifying to see them like literally like throwing themselves because the type of trampoline that had a net around
Yeah.
it. So to see themselves like throw themselves at full speed across the trampoline to try and hit somebody, and like to be like a couple inches away from being found, and for them to fly right past you and not see you because they're blind,
Yeah.
and then to like have to creep past them as they're listening for other people, because they could also hear like the trampoline springs going.
was
if you're
it-
making too much sound?
Was it, so they had to tackle you?
They had to tackle you, and
Okay.
we had the kickball to like throw at them and mess with
Because
them. and stuff like that.
we played a game that's like similar to that. I think it's just called like Mummy or something like that.
Mom, huh?
Yeah, it's the same thing except you just have to touch them. You don't have to
Right.
tackle them. But tackling would have been so much cooler.
Yeah,
I
tackling
would have
was
had
great.
10 times better childhood if I'd done that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they could touch plenty of people, right? But they had to get them to the ground. That was the challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Because they
okay.
would touch people all the time on accident, and that was just like a clue as to where they were.
Yeah, that's
then
not
they had to
good.
go
That's
tackle
not good
them.
for their. Yeah, that's not good for like publicity. Just touching people on accident.
Nah, you got to tackle.
Yeah, exactly.
You had to bring them all the way, like a football tackle. Their knee had to be down.
Oh, okay.
They had to be all the
Yeah.
way down.
Oh yeah. So I can't think of like the game. Uh, what? I don't know. I have a couple different games I can think of, I guess, but none of them really none of them ones I can think of off the top of my head were super stupid. One of them was we would like just going along with the theme of like being blindfolded or whatever. We'd have one person who's blindfolded. I would usually just play this if I had one friend that came over or something.
Mm-hmm.
We'd spin him around in a chair, and then he'd have to like find. He'd have to find us, or what was it? He'd either have to find us or like go to one spot that we say after he like spins in the chair. So you have to get out of the chair. You have to find your surroundings, and then like you have to maneuver your way around the entire house. Everything. It's like, what is it? No, we hid something. I think that's what we did. We hid something. So you'd have to look in all the like, every like the cabinets, the cupboards, everything. I think it was something like that. I don't remember exactly. It was just some stupid thing where you break stuff around the house. I do remember though the stupid thing about the games that I played. It wasn't actually the games themselves, but the way that they were set up. Still am. I still have this tendency. It's just part of my personality, but it showed itself a lot more when I was a kid. I'm like really controlling.
Mm.
Not control. I wouldn't say like I'm kind of. I like to be the leader.
Yeah.
You know, you probably see that a little bit.
Little bit.
In
but
the
you're
podcast.
not overbearing.
No, because I've dealt with it a lot, and you know I've outgrown it. You know the way it manifests itself as a child is different from how it manifests itself now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I think I've definitely adapted more, so it's not really nearly as much of a problem as it used to be, but I used to make up games, make everyone play them,
mm-hmm.
and then I would change the rules of the game as we were playing so that I win, right? Or because I would if I'm like, okay, I think I'm more athletic than this person in this way, like I could run faster, or maybe I'm stronger. Or something like that. Like if I find whatever their weakness is towards me, I would just make the game around that.
Yeah, I certainly.
Just so that I could win. So
I certainly exploited stuff like that as a kid.
Yeah. But anyway, I always had to be the guy making the rules. Otherwise, I'd just scream like if my brother was doing something else, I would just be like, no. How about we do this? How about? And then he's like, no. How about we let me win? And then it was just I would just be like,
Yeah.
Go away sobbing because I don't know but anyway. But yeah, that was my childhood games. Just
yeah, I've definitely noticed that. I'm a follower. I'm not a good leader. I don't. Maybe I am a good leader, but I don't want to be a leader.
I want to be a leader, but I'm a bad leader.
Okay, there we go. Opposites.
Yeah.
That's why I hate when I'm like filling out an app like a scholarship application. It's like describe the ways you're a leader. It's like screw you, I'm not.
What do you say?
I usually pick out like a couple of instances from
But how are you supposed to? But they don't want people who are leaders though. They want people who go to college.
That's the question they ask. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's like describe instances where you've been a leader, and it's like okay, well, I don't typically take the role of a leader because I don't want to. I try and lead by example. But I don't like consciously like okay, I'm controlling, I'm dictating what we do. Yeah, that's very much not my thing. And as Jordan Peterson teaches, it's that agreeability, right?
Yeah. Well, I was talking about this I think with Rowan, but just kind of taking that path of like like you just don't fight as much.
Mm-hmm.
You don't win everything, just win the things that count.
Right.
So that's kind of how I've taken my approach to like, because I get done what I want to get done, and I have people help me out with it, but I do it in a way that is just fun for everyone. I try to make it, but that requires me to sacrifice my complete and absolute control because not everyone's a pawn,
Right.
Which is, I don't know.
We can't all be sheep.
We can't all be sheep. Although, sheep, though.
I know sheep.
We're all sheep.
We're all sheep.
We're all sheep.
Yeah.
We all get bored of women fast. No, I'm kidding.
Stop.
Okay. Anyway, okay. Yeah,
Right.
next Reddit question.
Next Reddit question. We all have stupid childhood games.
Yeah.
Pushing sheep down hills, watching them roll.
Oh, should we read some of them? Some of the answers.
Oh, we don't have to. I think this one's kind of just
Actually, they're not that good, are they?
like a fun answer. I thought like if we were gonna compare, it would be more like advice questions. Yeah.
Okay, fellas. My girlfriend doesn't believe me. How many of you put your hand on your junk when you're just sitting around? Period. Wasn't even a question.
Wait, how
Period.
many? I think we all do that. It's a
How
matter of
many
how
of us?
much.
How much? I mean, in a non-masturbatory way. It's
Just, like,
comfy
chilling.
to have your hand on your junk, right? Is it, well, okay, gotta get in the right position. I guess it. It's too synthetic of a. It's not a real, not natural. I'm trying to force it.
I do it when I'm laying in bed often.
I guess.
Just kind of the way it happens. Just like it's comfortable to lay that way. I guess. I don't know.
So.
Not really when I'm sitting.
I think I've made a conscious choice though. Like whenever I notice it, to not do it.
Yeah, same
in
here.
public.
It's
I think
a
maybe it's like
subconscious
a
thing.
I've trained myself to not do it.
Well, I like oftentimes I'll sit with like my hands in my lap,
Yeah.
but it's not like actually like physically resting. Yeah,
What about adjusting?
you gotta do that all the time, man. It's just
'Cause,
walking around,
it's
stuff
like-
starts riding up. You know.
yeah. Or yeah. I get. Yeah. It's such an interesting world.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's definitely.
Oh.
What you got?
Ask Men. This is a what would I call it? This question is kind of like a podcast memory.
Okay.
How many kindergartners do you think you could personally take on in a fight
Oh, I've seen this
before
one
being
before.
overpowered?
This is a podcast memory. What?
This is a podcast memory.
In what way?
Because we had an
you discussed
entire
this before?
episode. We had
Oh.
an episode that was named after this because
Oh.
we had a good discussion about it.
Right. How many kindergartens? Okay. I think
The way we discussed it was 5-year-olds. How many
5-year-olds.
5-year-olds?
Okay,
could
so
you
that's
take in a
kindergarten
fight?
age.
Yeah.
I was thinking. Well, it depends. We're just talking like hand-to-hand combat, right? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that should be like the podcast question. How many
To get people
5-year-olds could you
going?
take in a fight? No, just to have on record of everyone who's been.
Oh,
to the
gotcha.
podcast.
I feel like I could take 7 or 8
7 or 8.
if they were like their full like intensity was focused on me. I could take like 7 or 8 before I just physically became overwhelmed. Before they ran out of like.
Well,
Before I ran out of like
see, here's
limbs for them to grab onto and drag me down.
we need to come up with the logistics though. I feel like we did, but I forgot exactly what we decided on.
We need to calculate
it-
the average strength of a
Is it
kindergartner.
an army? Do they all come in at once? Is it like a swarm of kids, or is it a stream of kids? Is
I
it
don't know.
one on one, one on one, one on one, one on one?
Oh, if it's like that, I don't know.
They
I,
can
thought,
probably
I was thinking like an army, like they're all at
I
once.
feel like an army is more.
I feel like an army is
yeah.
more.
More,
Yeah.
it's more. It's gonna be a lower number, more characteristic.
Right. But it also depends on like their tactics. Like if they go for my legs, if they like trip me up, I could go down pretty quickly. you
Well,
know?
okay, based on how you think that they would attack you. Do you
I feel like
think that? I feel like they'd work together because those clever sons of bitches,
Yeah.
like they could just I'm sure a bunch of them would go for your legs.
I feel like there'd be a lot of people going for legs. Yeah.
But then they would like climb on top of each other, something.
Uh huh.
Ow, get off me! But by that time they'd already be on you,
Right.
taking you down.
I feel like it would take a couple of them to like bring down my legs, but I feel like they could definitely do it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
just don't know how many it would take or how coordinated they are.
So you're thinking 5 or 6?
Something
Well,
like that.
okay.
Depends on how they attack. It's subjective.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
situational.
I would say I don't know, man. Cause you could I feel like the only thing that you do is kicking until they get your legs.
Yeah.
But once they get your legs, you know that you're done for. It's just a matter of time
before you
and
go
how
down.
many you can take out.
That's when you stop
done.
kicking, because then you're gonna trip yourself if you keep kicking.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's
So
when
your
you start
tactics
using
have to
your
change too.
Yeah, yeah. You could. I mean, you could use them as weapons, right?
Yeah,
grab their heads
Sure.
from around.
What's the consensus here in the comment section? What are people saying?
Oh. Hold on. Sorry. He does go into further detail.
Okay.
I didn't read this. Stipulations and context. The kindergartners are released 5 at a time every 30 seconds.
Okay, so it's waves.
So it's waves. The arena is a standard size classroom. Let's say 40 feet wide by 20 feet deep. What? Okay, it's like a square? Okay.
40 feet. That's a rectangle.
25 feet deep.
All squares are
Whatever.
rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares.
Amen, brother.
Amen, brother.
However, the room is completely empty.
Geometry, bro.
Kindergartners are unarmed. They're just going to run at you, okay, whatever. Their ultimate goal is to cumulatively dogpile on you and pin you to the ground. They can pin you for 15 consecutive seconds. You lose. You have to knock a kindergartner unconscious in order to defeat
That's
them.
okay. That's what I was gonna ask. Is
Once they're knocked unconscious, they vanish from the classroom arena. You can use any strategy you want to fend them off, but you are also unarmed, and you are not allowed to leave the room.
I feel like throwing is the best situation here.
I agree with that.
You just
Yeah.
throw them.
Without moral constraints, probably like 50 plus TBH.
Yeah, without moral constraints, in waves of 5 every 30 seconds. Well, as long as you could eliminate all 5 within 30 seconds, you're good. You're golden. But 30 seconds is not as much time as people think it is. I don't know if you could even physically. I don't even know if it's conceivable to throw 5 kindergartners in the 30-second time frame. Because you also have to be successful each time in order to complete it within that wave. So if you're not,
Right.
then that means that the next wave actually has 6 attacking you, and then 7
Right.
or yeah. So I feel like could probably withstand a couple of waves, but I think after a while it gets
Yeah.
too overbearing.
Yeah.
And I feel like you could do some combo stuff. Like the first couple you could kick, but after they get your legs, you got to start throwing. You're limited to upper body, or else you'll trip. And the first waves might not even be able to pin you down immediately, right? But
Yeah.
even if you do
You
trip,
get tired after a while, though.
you
I
get
mean,
tired.
You know
yeah.
what? 5-year-olds are heavy. If you're swinging them around all the time,
You get tired. You
you
get
get tired.
weak.
I'm sure you get tired a lot faster than we think you get tired.
Throwing 5-year-olds, yeah, they're heavier than you think.
I just like that guy, though. He's TBH,
TBH.
TBH.
I really like how much detail he went into on this combat.
Yeah, that was a good.
That was a good one.
That was a good post by him, man.
I feel like that's a psychologically revealing question, especially if you don't mention the morality of it to see what people answer.
Yeah. Yeah, and they just yeah. What's the weirdest social interaction you've ever been part of?
Oh goodness, I can't even name one single weirdest. Like we could just list some of the weird ones.
The weird ones. What are weird social interactions you've had?
Yeah, I can't really.
Damn, there's so many though. That's
I mean, I've had a lot, and by the time you have a lot, you can't think of just one.
well, yeah, that's what we talk about as people.
Right.
Is weird social interactions. Like that's what gossip is.
It's
That's
interesting.
what everything is. Yeah. Also, it's too late to think of any too as well.
A little bit, yeah. It's
Yeah.
kind of like if you have a good social if you have a good social interaction, it's almost just like it's a normal social interaction, right? If you come out of
Yeah.
it unscathed, it's just like a normal social interaction. If you have
Yeah.
a bad one, then it's interesting at the least. But in order to have a good one, like a genuinely good one, it almost seems like it takes a lot.
There has to be a lot of validation of yourself.
You gotta feel good.
Well, no, really. Really, you got to feel better about yourself when you leave.
Yeah.
Even if it's
Well.
like you make them feel better, you feel like, yes, I just made them feel better. Ha.
Right.
Yeah, like, yes, I'm good at that. Whatever. Or you help them out in some way, give some advice or something. you're still validating yourself.
But then maybe
Right.
you're breaking up with somebody and you feel horrible afterwards, but you know it's actually objectively the right thing to do.
Objectively. Oh, you mean like, and that would be a good sexual interaction? I think
That's what I was saying. Is it good or is it bad?
Huh. Well, wait, that's just, it's good. Well, it's good, I guess, yeah.
But you feel
It's
horrible.
positive. That's, yeah, but you do feel shitty. Well, no. You feel like you're doing, I guess you feel like you're doing, well, you could feel like you're doing the right thing, but you might make the wrong decision. Therefore, it's too late.
I don't know where you're going with this at all.
We need to be done.
Okay.
Well, also, I got a text from my parents.
Oh, gotta be done.
Because
Gotta wrap it up.
Because my parents sleep on the other side of this wall,
And we're just chatting away.
so they can hear us talking. They just can't hear what we're saying.
Is here.
They can hear the low frequencies.
Right, because high frequencies don't cut through the walls.
Exactly.
That's why you only hear bass from cars.
Yeah.
Which
So
is
they
super
can
freaking
hear.
annoying. I want to hear the lyrics, man.
Right, and you can. Well, the only high end that you hear is the metal rattling. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. PPL number 23.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Recorded in order.
In order. Yeah,
Post
because
them in the order that we record them.
you just have a
And
couple
that's
of
dope.
days to turn this one around.
What?
You just have a couple of days to turn this one around and
Yeah.
upload it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. As for if you want to do some like little bit of future prospect, we're looking into getting a you know what? We're done.
Good night, America.